Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know, just by a quick show of hands, who's heard of TED Talks before? I'm pretty sure most of us have. This is our first TED Talk event here at Drew Charter School, and it's kind of a big deal because it's one of our own who's here to give the TED Talk. He's a graduate of Drew Charter School from 2005, and I'm going to let Mr. Parker tell you a lot about him because this guy's pretty impressive, and I'm super excited about it. One quick note for you, from 3 to 6. And there's going to be all types of activities having to do with the playhouses and sculpture out front. There's going to be all kinds of events here tomorrow. Please show up and show out for Drew. And enjoy your day. STEAM Day is supposed to be for you and about learning about STEAM and how it relates to the real world. And I really can't think of anybody better to talk about that than our speaker today. So let's get the ball rolling.
Good morning. I have the privilege of knowing this young fellow when he was walking on the gray line with zero noise. So this is going to be a pleasure to introduce him. Let's see, I have to read this. Jeffrey Martin is the founder and CEO of honorCode, an education social enterprise aimed at empowering teachers and schools to instruct 21st century skills to their students. Prior to founding honorCode, as a 2013 Teach for America course member, he served as the math special educator and data coordinator at Trinity Academy for the Performing Arts, an arts integrated 7th through 12th grade charter school for 2 years, and is a certified mathematics and special education instructor in both Rhode Island and Georgia. Prior to joining Teach for America, Jeffrey served as the vice president for the Waller Scholars, an emerging education nonprofit in Atlanta, Georgia, and also as a summer analyst with Goldman Sachs in New York, New Jersey offices. Jeffrey graduated from the University of Pennsylvania in 2013 with a degree from the Wharton School of Business and a minor in urban studies. He completed graduate studies work at Brown University in their urban education policy program and also is a 2005 graduate of Drew Charter School, way before the second campus was even thought of. Outside of his work with honorCode, he has held leadership positions with Out for Undergrad, the LGBTQ-focused organization which prepares LGBTQ undergraduates for professions in business, technology, marketing, engineering, which impacts about 800 plus students in over 80 companies annually, and is a member of the Center for Civic Innovation in Atlanta, Georgia. He has won fellowship from the Center for Social Impact Strategy, HIV Global Leaders, and a 4.0 Schools, a national education entrepreneurship incubator. He is so excited to be here with you all today. So without further notice, please, Jeffrey Martin.
Back? All right. All right, good morning, everyone. Okay, I'm trying it again. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Y'all, it is so wonderful to be here with you, y'all. This is the first talk I've ever done to a group of students in Atlanta, and it's even better the fact that I can do it with you all as fellow alums. Wow. So, I guess we should just go ahead and get started. Generally, when you hear TED Talk, people talk about their lives, they give you some advice, they give you some non-negotiable, and then they thank you afterwards. And just kind of following that framework, which are frameworks that you all will have to implement in the world on a day-to-day basis, especially when you graduate. Because this is a senior academy, right? Yeah. Okay. So, you all doubly will be using frameworks as soon as you leave out of here. So, why don't we just go ahead and dive in? So, how does my happiness and my mental health impact those around me? This is where a lot of my work is centered around. And just to take a side note from the conversation for a minute, this is the typical squad photo of all of my friends from middle school, all right? You all will notice, minus these two gentlemen right here, everybody else was affiliated with Drew when it first started, all right? We were all a part of the 100 Black Men in Atlanta program, because at the time Drew didn't have high school, this big, beautiful building, and you all have all of these resources. Weren't even thought of. We were still in iterations like, imagine K through 8. I know some of y'all might have been there. Kindergarten through 8th grade classes were all in that one thing. All right? So, just wanted to show you this. There are a lot of Drew people in this one photo, and I still keep in contact with them. But the reason why I put up this happiness and mental health aspect of it, because the first 24 years of my life, I'm only 25 now, but the first 24 years of my life, I wasn't properly taking care of myself, I wasn't really happy, and it's because being a trauma survivor, and I know that some of you all have probably heard that word before, but a trauma survivor who lived with two drug-addicted parents, and I know a lot of you all probably know and seen the shows or have had lived experiences or had friends who have been through those sorts of things, but it was very, very hard to grow up and realize that you were, or feel that you were constantly unsafe because of surviving trauma. So I just showed this picture because these are just certain memories that get etched up. All right, so keep this in mind. Happiness, mental health, and how it regards to me and other people. So, reading the top of this slide, this is a New York Times article that came from, June 2013. And they did a lot of research on the income ladder. And basically right here, you'll see this, Atlanta's 4%, all right? And I'm gonna talk a bit more about this, but there's a 96% chance that if you are born poor in Atlanta, you are going to die poor in Atlanta, all right? So, and y'all, I know I'm hearing a little bit of chattering going about this, but they went through, did a longitudinal survey across all of the cities in our country. And so keep that 96% in your head. Here, it gives some information on different percentages. So you see that, I know you all probably can see on my latest time as well, but you have this 4% vote, okay? 4%, they rank all of the income ladders on different schedules, and that bottom fifth aspect is if your family makes about $16,000 annually a year. If you grow up in a family that makes $16,000 annually a year, and this is something that I lived for a very long time, there's only a 4% chance that you will get up to a top fifth ladder. And how the New York Times folks went about going about this was the top fifth is a child that by the age of 30 will make between $70,000 and $100,000 a year annually. This is not millions of dollars. This is not, some of these media or sports people that you see. This is like literally going from $16,000 annually, which is not a livable wage at all, to survive, to $70,000 to $100,000, which is roughly in the middle class family. And it's really interesting because, again, being part of Drew, growing up around the East Lake Villages area where it had the rep of being Little Vietnam and all of these different things, how in the world did I get put into this 4% bubble, which is just something I continue to think about often. All right? So keep that in mind as well. So, I think the last time I spoke at Drew was at our 8th grade graduation, and that was about 11 years ago. Really. And this is just to kind of, all these brands up here, and I'm about to go about speaking about them, because though these are a lot of different things, and I was doing a lot of different work for 11 years, keeping all of this in mind, I'm trying to get us to really think about that 4% level. So, again, see the Drew Charter symbol here, all right? Graduated here in 2005, and because of my connection with Better Chance, I was able to get a full ride to the Paideia School. At that time, Paideia was about $20,000 a year. In addition to that, there were books, there were traveling things. That school was probably one of the hardest things for me because it was the first time that I actually got exposed to what the real world looks like. I was not the majority, and I'm talking about my racial side of things. I was not a majority. I think at Paideia, The minority students were roughly about, at that time, what, maybe 10 or 20%, 15% or so, and inundated with, you know, just wealth, and like what that means and what does access mean. Like, I'm studying for SATs, and like, I don't have a tutor, and a lot of my friends have had tutors forever, all right? So that was my big like shock. So at Paideia, I worked my butt off and did really well, and I ended up getting the Gates Millennium Scholarship in Georgia, and also Miss Henderson, who's one of your college advisors, she ended up getting the year after me, so that was also a really great opportunity there. And then the Horatio Alger National Scholarship, so I was the state one from Georgia, so I was one of two. And then of the whole, I guess, United States, I was one of 104 out of like 12,000 applicants. All right, which is, you know, that's like less than 1% or so. And the thing about it is, I was like, okay, I'm getting all these scholarship things, and literally I have a letter from our First Lady back in 2008 writing me a personal letter about me getting this award because how hard it was. Still something I keep in mind, and I'm just very thankful to have had that experience, but we're still talking about just like needing money to go to school. So, Gates Millennium Scholars gave me money, Horatio Alger, I got that resignation, and not resignation, excuse me, that recognition. And then I also got a full ride to the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania. And I don't know how many of you all are in the college application process, but the Wharton School of Business is the top business school in our country. They have it for undergrad, they have it for MBA, and also executive MBA. Last time I checked ratings. 500 people in the world get accepted into that school. Wow. And before the housing crisis, which was in 2008, average salary for a Wharton undergrad who went to work on Wall Street was around $300 to $400K. So forget about the top 50. You're making $300,000 and $400,000 a year, and you're like, what, 22? And I do have friends who are in that bucket right now. So did a lot of things at Wharton, learned a lot of things, then I went to work for Goldman Sachs, an investment bank in New York. Did a lot of interesting things in regards to securities and operation strategies regarding that. One of the projects is we were estimated in saving the company $3.4 million. Again, all these different structures that go over this. So from Goldman Sachs, I got the offer from them, and one of the things that hit me hard, because I've been internalizing all of my experience from Drew till now, I ended up going to join, I did not take my offer to go to Goldman Sachs. I ended up going to Teach for America, where I taught in Providence, Rhode Island at the school level. In addition to Teach for America, I also went to Brown and I started working on my master's in urban education policy. Did a lot of work in the LGBT community because that is a place where I aligned with very heavily with Out for Undergrad. And one of the things that we would do, my team that year, we raised about $450,000, worked with JP Morgan, all these different fancy banks. And I was like, okay, I picked up all of these skills, all right? Got all these grants, picked up all these skills, and then I came home in August and I started honorCode, which is now by the end of 2016, we'll be working in Atlanta, Philadelphia, and New Orleans. So that was a mouthful. That's the part of the conversation that I'm still also processing. But the thing about it is, also being in that 4% number, I also had to do all of this to make people think that what I'm doing is worth anything so that they can hear it. All of this. So kind of just asking you all a math question. So, and I've already given you the numbers, the answer to this as well. If 96% of people who grow up poor in Atlanta stay poor in Atlanta, how many people don't? How many people get out of that? Awesome, 4%. So, you got this 4%, and this is just me talking about myself. Then I had to do all of this stuff. All right, so I'm in the 4%, had to do all those brands, and I'm gonna put up another slide that kind of, you know, and some of your teachers will also agree with this, but in addition to being in that 4% and having to do all these things and get all those titles, there's a slew of other things that you need to be safe and to be able to function and be awesome in this world, like health insurance. You gotta go to the doctor when you're sick. A home to live in, a support network, your family, your friends, you know, getting good grades amidst being in that 96% category. Being involved in extracurriculars. Having financial management skills to where when colleges give you your scholarship letters, or scholarship, I guess, awards, you have to know how to manage that stuff because sometimes you're given that check, you have to pay for everything, and you have to manage your food, your own health insurance, all the clothes, all of those things. So much more. But the one thing that sticks out to me the most, and the thing that really really, really helped me get through a lot of these things is that support network piece. In my opinion, what makes the impossible possible is having support networks and also knowing how to use them. We are constantly around support networks, but the thing about knowing how to use them is that hard part together. So I'm going to share with you all a few things that my support network has taught me. Number one, ask questions constantly. All right? And you all will notice here, this is Doreen McKesson. He is one of the, I know you all have probably seen him as a lot of forefront of a lot of the Black Lives Matter movement. This is things that I talk with a lot with my students when I was teaching. But being a trauma survivor, going through all these spaces of immense privilege, learning all these things, that's all I did the first part, was just ask a bunch of questions to see what answers can I get. And you all have awesome resources with your teachers, so you know a lot of things. You also have awesome resources with your families and your grandparents, or your friends, or your coach. But this space of your life, you should be asking tons of questions just to get information. All right? The second one, never settle for just the answer. So what? He just told me to ask a bunch of questions. Then I get those answers, and he's telling me not to settle for those answers. You all will notice that this is a clip from Beyonce's Formation video, and this scene resonated very hard with me because my work is with kids and making sure that they're happy and so that they can do amazing things in the world. And this scene right here, especially paying attention to the amount of political things that we have been going through as a nation. Those kids, this kid doing those that cop is just an image of, hey, I have power in the system. Every single one of you all are brilliant, beautiful, powerful, and you are going to change the world. There's no end to that, all right? But here's the thing. In about 10 years' time, y'all are going to be the ones that are making all of our policy decisions, the ones who are in our the doctors in our hospital, who are changing policies from like law perspectives. If you don't think outside of the answers and the frameworks that people give you, nothing is going to change. All right? And that's something that, another thing that my support network taught. All right. Number 3, you are not alone. All right? So, someone will know here, this is Laverne Cox. Some may know her from the show Orange is the New Black. Others may know her and a lot of her work in regards to the trans community and also their visibility in that space. I'll wait. Others may know of her work in the trans community and just their visibility there. I'm about to share with you all something that, again, there's so many things that come out of those spaces. So, you know the story I told you all, I went to Paideia, graduated, got into Wharton, did all of these different things. One of the things for the past 6 years, and something that I've been taking in consideration to fix now. For 6 years, because of the trauma, I suffered from severe depression, where I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, stare at the ceiling, wouldn't do anything. Certain times where I wouldn't eat. Pains would manifest themselves in my body where I felt like someone was stabbing me in my stomach. And also I couldn't walk for weeks at a time I had to put braces on. That mental health component is probably one of the roughest things that I've had to go through. The thing that I eventually had to realize is that even in some of those darkest moments I thought I was alone, I wasn't. All right? This mental health piece, amidst all of the numbers and facts and all these things that I told you all, that is a key aspect of making sure that you all are taking care of yourself. And mental health looks like a lot of things. Make sure you hang out with your friends and making sure that they're those right spaces. You taking time to go and exercise and do all of those things for yourself. That was the last aspect of what I was talking about. One other piece of advice, and I'm going to allow the laugh to go over this. This slide is so important. Be very careful of who you keep in your cabinet, all right? So one of my mentors and I, because of those social networks, I found a lot of different things to know here. But one of my mentors told me, you have to have a cabinet of people that you go to ask for questions, to give you advice on certain situations, tell you, hey, you don't need to be doing that. I cannot stress to you how many times as a teacher, as a student, helping with family members and whatnot, if there is somebody in your life that you are fighting to keep them in that space more than they want to be there, and this could be that friend, this could be somebody you're dating, this could be so many different things. For that mental health component and all of these things, I promise you, you doing exactly what Beyonce is doing here in this gift will save you so much stress and just anxiety and sometimes bad decisions later on. Okay? So, to leave you all with this, some math teachers, so of course I'm going to put up equations. So, luck equals preparation plus opportunity. All right? I realize that my thing of being in this 4% category is very rare and something I'm thinking about, something work that I'm doing with my company now. There are constantly opportunities that are surrounding you because you all go to school, you're within networks, all these different things. So luck is bound to happen. The one thing that you control is this preparation part. Again, we're expecting a lot of things from y'all. Y'all are going to be changing the world in whatever spaces that you are involved in. This preparation part is key because here's the thing. If an opportunity comes by and you're not prepared for it, you're not going to get it. And then if you don't get it, and you being the brilliant, awesome, amazing person that you are, that was an opportunity for the world to be a better place. So, in that end, I'm going to open up the floor for questions. I want to thank you all for your opportunity, for your attention. So, we have about, roughly 9 or 10 minutes for questions. People have questions for me in regards to my work or just the things that I said, please feel free because I would love to answer these things. Just kind of raise your hand and state your name and all of those things. Oh, and one thing, so y'all, when someone's asking a question, and I know that your wonderful teachers have instructed you with this, and I'm also going to say this as well, when someone's doing a question, we need to make sure that we're giving them our utmost attention, because they're representing you. All right? So, sorry, you say your name? You stand up? Okay. So, very good question. So again, I know I mentioned all these, thank you so much for that. I know I mentioned all of these friends and all these other different things, but I can honestly say...
Jeffrey, could you repeat that question? So
oh, yes.
Here.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Stay there. All right. So the question was, do I personally, honestly, still listen to voices. The question was, do I honestly believe that small changes can make really huge impacts? So yes, at this point in time, before Drew started, I came to Drew as a 5th grader, right before, 2001? Yeah, 2001. And at that time, I was homeless, I was living in and out of a boarding home. There are a lot of different things that kind of went into that. Had my mom not worked with my godmom at the time, I wouldn't have met my god-grandmother, and none of this would have happened at all. They forced my parents to give me a father tree at that time. So, and that's just me talking about my life. There's also another one of my students when I taught in Philly who, at this time, Glenn there's a movie about him. He's doing a lot of things with mental health and everything as well. Glenn went to a really low performance school in Philadelphia. He ended up having a child his junior year of high school, and very much involved in things and like selling drugs and things of that nature. Him and I worked a lot with him, getting him out of. And now Glenn is a junior at Yale. So we worked a way to like help him get there. He's also thriving. So yeah, and I'm a huge believer in him. Yes. So it's a valid question. So what was the turning point for me to become happy? So it actually occurred when I was teaching. I was in my policy program at Brown, and when I started to realize that I wasn't, how can I say this? Though my students learned a ton, and I had awesome relationships with them, and I still keep in contact with them, the turning point for me was when I realized the guy grandmother that I mentioned to you, she recently passed this past September. And it was one of those things where I realized that I had just been doing so much. And the turning point for me was when I couldn't walk anymore. And I hope that none of you all get to that space. This is very painful. I still have my braces and all those other things. I don't wear them now because I take care of myself. But that was the turning point that I realized that I had to do something instead of just getting brands and titles and things of that nature. Does that answer your question? Okay, so, awesome. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, when you said outside of just my background and my godmom, what programs and things had a really huge impact on my life? So this might not be like the most like specific answer to this, but if there is any, because I think all of them had some sort of value in where I am right now. I'm a firm believer in every single moment builds up to this exact moment. So I learned a lot of different things. I think the place to start when you're looking at organizations and things to be a part of, you need to see how your interests also play into that space. So automatically as high school students, academic things, given that this is your job, you're technically getting paid for grades, and I hate that, I'm saying that aspect, but it's very true. This should be your top priority, all right? In addition to that, say for instance, you're into dance, you can find a dance company in the city to be a part of. If you're really into sports, then like in addition to sports here and making sure that you're taking care of your academics, you can find out how to like share that love with someone else. So you can either be a part of one or you can start one on your own because the tools are all there if you want to do it. Again, Waller Scholars was incubated out of Drew, and my 6th grade teacher at the time, Mr. Waller, did it, and I wanted to help him. So there's tons of things going on. Did that kind of get to you? Yes. Okay. Did my degrees have work to help me do what I am doing now? In all honesty, I think it has. There's a really, really powerful thing that you all will get to know as you get older. You know how you buy certain products and you're like, oh, I know that that product is good because it has this brand on it? It's kind of around that same thing. And also has some really, really great professors. But I do think that the school that I went to very much set that trajectory. I mean, even with being at Drew at the time, going to Paideia, all of those things kind of align. Oh, okay, awesome. Second. All right, so honorCode, and it was kind of in the bio. So honorCode is an education social enterprise, and what we do, we go into schools and we provide them with curriculum to help teach 21st century skills. None of this is very much a buzzword, but how we approach 21st century skills is through coding and web development. So in Atlanta alone, there's 23,000 open computer programming jobs that have annual salaries around $85,000 a year. You don't need, there are alternate ways of getting those jobs. You can go through a coding certification program. You can go to school for computer science. And we're trying to open up this door to where, hey, if I'm a high school student and I know how to code, and I know JavaScript and all these other different things, why don't you hire me to get a job with you? And so we're trying to open up that platform and expand what college and career readiness looks like. And we also wrap that with teaching entrepreneurship skills. So how do you run a company? How do you go about instilling that mindset into yourself? And also mindfulness and yoga and a bunch of things, which really also help you get through my trauma aspect. So we do that with schools, and it's on a classroom, school, and a district level. So Drew's a district. Imagine us working with all 157 teachers that are going to be working with all 2,000 of you all. Yes. That is an awesome question. And I'm going to repeat it. You said, out of all the things that I do, have I ever felt, or do I feel out of place? So right about now is the first time where I don't feel out of place. Ever since I left Ruth. No, I'm very serious. Because it's an aspect of like confidence and things that go behind these things as well. That's why I also bring up the mental health capacity of it. But ever since I left Drew, I have always been uncomfortable and felt very much out of place. Only black kid in the advanced track 9 class, you know. Then when college term came around, everybody applied to Ivy League schools, and like Wharton was one of them. I got into it. There was a lot of things that were going on there. Then Penn had all of these things, and the teaching, I was the only black Spanish-speaking teacher from my predominantly Spanish-speaking school. So, yes, in these spaces, there are times when you feel like you are very much by yourself. But going back to some of the things that I was saying, there's always a support network. I call my godmom all the time. And I talk to my co-founder, Dylan, all the time. You know, there's so many different things and people that you can put into your life, or you choose to keep into your life, that minimizes that.